What's up, everyone? Let's go ahead and go over the SPSS frequencies and descriptive statistics assignment. This was based on the SKP, or the serial killer profile questionnaire. Higher number of yeses is more consistent theoretically with being a serial killer. So we've got three groups who took it: kids who kicked puppies, kids who didn't kick puppies, and then prior Reliant students. We're going to end up comparing these groups at some point to see how different they are. So I've already downloaded and opened the file in SPSS on the right. And let's just roll through this. So the frequency procedure is the same procedure that you used on the introduction to SPSS assignment, and also the SPSS data entry assignment. It's pretty common. It's sort of like the common cold of stats. So you go down to analyze descriptives, frequencies. And here I tell you specifically to put both serial killer and study group in the box on the right. And you can get all sorts of fancy stats in here. So I tell you to get some of those under statistics. Go ahead and get the following: measures of central tendency, mean, median, and mode. Measures of dispersion over here: standard deviation, variance, and range. And I tell you to get percentile values, specifically get the quartiles, which is this guy here. And what else we got? The shape, we need to get the skewness over here. So I'll give us overall skewness and click OK. And I tell you to get a chart. So in the charts button, go ahead, get histogram, and I usually get the normal curve. Yeah, okay, good. So I'll get the normal curve on there too. Continue and OK. And what this is going to do is run frequencies and get all those stats for whatever we put in this box, which is both variables. So click OK, and let's get this going. All right. Here we go. Descriptive statistics for all cases. So you can also get descriptive statistics for all cases using descriptive statistics. So you go to Analyze Descriptive Statistics and Descriptive Statistics. And in the box on the right, you can throw over your variables again. So study group and serial killer. You sort of automatically get several things in here, but let's take a look at what we get. We end up getting the mean automatically, and I tell you to get the sum, which literally just sums the responses from the participants. And under measures of dispersion, go ahead and get the standard deviation, variance, and range again. And you could probably guess we're getting skewness. So click continue and OK to run that procedure. We'll revisit this one in the next assignment, no doubt. All right, scooting on. So if you want to get stats for separate subgroups, so not both descriptives and for frequencies, we just did get stats for everyone in the sample. But let's say you wanted to get it separately for persons by study group. Well, to do that, there's a procedure under Analyze Descriptives that's called Explore. This is sort of the one everyone forgets, Explore. So in Explore, we want to move our dependent variable to the dependent list. And we want to move our independent variable to, it's called the factor list here instead of the independent variable list, because SPSS, they hate our faces. So, and then under statistics, we are supposed to get what the following descriptors is already selected. We're going to get so much stuff from this. It's a little bit crazy. So click plots, see what we get under here. We get factor levels together. It's already selected under box plots. And I think I tell you to turn off, yeah, stem and leaf. This is an old school one that no one really cares about. Instead, get a histogram. And click continue and click OK. And you will, this gets something totally different. It gets stats separately for each level of study group. So each kids who kick puppies, kids who didn't kick puppies, and former Alliance students. So I think we're ready to start answering some questions now. What is the mean serial killer profile score for all cases? So you can answer that two ways, with either the statistics that are at the front of the frequencies, or you can answer it with the descriptives that come out of too far. Descriptives. Come on. There we go. Here's the descriptives that actually come out of descriptives. How come it's confusing? Because Explorer also calls its table descriptives. So here it sort of puts them all in one row. Up top, it lists them downward. So don't matter, should be the same answer. And we'll verify that real quick. So the mean serial killer profile score for all cases is, find the row called mean and serial killer profile score for the column. You get 12.39. So I'm saying it's 12.39. Survey says font. There we go. Oh, that's not going to be readable. I'm sorry. There we go. Black font, 12.39. So just to verify that you could have got them from descriptive statistics as well. This is descriptive's procedure. Let's scoot on over till we get to mean for serial killer profile score, 12.39. So same answer. What is the most commonly occurring serial killer profile score? That is the mode for all cases. So let me see if that's printed here. I got to be honest, I don't remember. No. So apparently the only place to get that is up top in the descriptors for the frequencies. So again, in the descriptors table, go to the row that's called mode, scooch over to serial killer profile score. 15 was the most common serial killer profile score. Survey says yes. So what value divides in half the serial killer profile scores? What is the median of all cases? Median row, again, is the middle of a distribution. Has 50% above, 50% below. The median for this distribution is 12, and I'm pretty sure that's also down in the descriptors table. And am I wrong? Yeah, it looks like I'm wrong. So apparently that top table is the way to go. So there we go. So our median right here is 12. All right. What is the mean study group for all cases? So I mean, you can answer this question, but it's meant to be sort of a trick question to get you thinking. So here's study group, and there's the mean. The mean study group is it's 1, 2, and 3 is the way it's coded, so it happens to be the middle group. So I guess you could just say 2.0. Oh, sorry. Let me hit undo. I forgot I'm on the key. I just got to make the answers appear. There we go. Why is it wrong to report the mean for study group? So the hint here is skills of measurement. So what skill of measurement is study group, where 1 stands for one group, 2 stands for the other group. Here's that note that tells you which group is which. Well, it's a nominal variable. Are you supposed to use the mean for nominal variables? No. Right. So the mean is for interval or ratio variables. So to answer the question here, what is wrong? Why is it wrong to report the mean for study group? Well, because the mean, you got 3 groups and it gives you the mean group because there's equal numbers in each group. It doesn't have meaning to say the average study group was 2. It just means that's the middle group, which is not all that interesting or surprising. So you shouldn't use the mean with nominal variables. It's kind of like saying what's the mean hair color. I don't know that has a whole lot of meaning. So what measure of central tendency? Oh, let me get there we go. It's nominal. What measure of central tendency is more appropriate to use for study group? That is, what is the measure of central tendency to use for nominal data? Hopefully you remember it is the mode. So the mode, which case we established was 15. Why? Because that's it just says what's the most commonly occurring value, which makes sense even for nominal variables like hair color or which group you're in. What percentage of all cases have a serial killer profile score of 17? Where can we answer that? Well, we need to go to frequency distribution. So in the frequency distribution, it lists each value, and then it's got the frequency percent, val percent, and cumulative percent. And frequency tells you how many times each valid value occurs. Percent is what percent they are. So question is, what percentage of all cases have a serial killer profile score of 17? It looks to me that it's right here. 17% is 7. And there we go. What number of all cases have a serial killer profile score of 19 or 20? So you got to do a little bit. Well, actually, you might have had to do math, but no one got a 20, did they? So how many of all cases have a serial killer profile score of 19 or 20? Well, you got 3 who got a 19, and it doesn't even show 20 because no one got 20. So the answer here is 3 people got a score of 19 or 20 because it's just the 3 people who got the 19. What percentage of all cases have a serial killer profile score higher than 15? That means not 15, it means higher than 15. And there's a couple ways you can get this. So I'm going to bust up calculator really quickly. So we want the percentage of folks who had a score above 15. So that would be 7 plus 7 plus 7 is 21, plus 5.3. I'm pretty sure that's 26.3, but just to be sure, 7 plus 7, plus 7. Oops, not 77. Okay, 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus that last group is 5.3. And we get 26.3. And how did we get that? We added the number who percentage you had 16, 17, 18, or 19, because all those are higher than 15. So the other way you can get this, oh, let's make sure that's the answer before I keep babbling. There we go. So the other way you can get this is using cumulative percent. Cumulative percent tells you the percentage of scores that got a particular value or higher. So to do this, we know that 73.6%, 7% of the distribution had a fit. Did I say higher? Lower. Oh, Lord. So 15%, Jesus, 73.7% of the people in the study had a serial killer profile score of 15 or lower. That's what the cumulative percent tells us. So we want to know what's higher than that, right? So you could just do 100%, because that's how the total number in the sample, minus that 73.7. And that should give us the same answer or close, 26.3, 26.3. Either way, works for me. What is the shape of the serial killer profile scores for all cases? Positively skewed, normal, negatively skewed. So where do we go to establish shape? Do we look at the picture? Oh, wait, wrong picture. Do we look at this picture? No, because people disagree. So there is a particular stat we're supposed to look at to establish that. It's called skewness, coefficient of skew. It's up in this table as skewness. We look at this value and we say, okay, does this thing have an absolute value of 2 or bigger? And if it does, we say it's skewed, and we say it's skewed in the way of whatever sign it has. So it is a negative here, but it's not less, it's not greater than an absolute value of 2. So we would say something like this is normal, or essentially normal, or basically normal, or just normal enough, or just normal. So why? Because the skewness coefficient does not have an absolute value that's greater than 2. So we would say probably just normal. There we go. Or I mean, it's not perfectly normal, but it's normal enough, really. All right, to answer the following by locating the correct output from the explore procedure. Let's go down to explore. So again, explore is the one that gives it to you, gives you stats, bunch of stats separately for each level of serial killer. So this gives you separate stats for each group that there is on the variable that we put in the factor box. So what is the mean and standard deviation serial killer profile score for each subgroup? All right, kids who kick puppies. What is the mean? We go to serial killer profile score, kids who kick puppies. The mean is 15.74. Standard deviation is down here somewhere. There we go, 2.377. And survey says, hopefully nailed it. 2.37, oh, so 2.38, sorry, you got around it. How about kids who don't kick puppies? Here's their stats in here. The mean is 13.42. Standard deviation, I'll round it this out to 2.87. Survey says, indeed, that's the answer. How about prior alliance students? There we go. There's their mean is 8.00, standard deviation of 2.26. All right, so far so good. Which group has the least variability in serial killer profile scores? All right, well, there's more than one way to answer this one. So you know several measures of variability now. And I mean, technically, you could have looked at any of them. Given that this is an interval scale of measurement variable, the serial killer profile scores, I'm going to go ahead and look at the standard deviation. So I'm going to compare the three standard deviations of the groups. There's one, 2.37, and we're looking for most. So we're looking for the biggest standard deviation, 2.37, 2.84. So this one's bigger than that one. So how about this one, 2.26? This is the biggest of the three standard deviations. So I would say kids who didn't kick puppies is the answer. They have the least amount of variability. Good Lord, I can't read tonight. Okay, 2.37 versus 2.87 versus 2.26. It's prior reliance students. They've got the lowest one. All right. It's been one of those weeks. Oh, wrong one. Oops. Indeed, it's been one of those weeks. All right, and prior AIU students had the least amount of variability. Which group had the most? That was the question I was answering first. So now we're just looking for the biggest standard deviation, 2.37, 2.87, 2.26. It's 2.87. So it's kids who didn't kick puppies had the most variability in their scores. So, I mean, technically, there's other things you can look at. You could look at the variance if you really wanted to. You could look at the range if you wanted to. Just for poops and giggles, let's see what's got the widest range. So we got 9, this one's 10, this one's 8. We'd still conclude this one's got the biggest variability. All right, so what is the skewness statistic and shape of serial killer profile skulls for each subgroup? So we need to look for skewness for each of the groups. So skewness for kids who kick puppies is negative 0.732. That is not does not have an absolute value that's 2 or bigger. So we would say normal, or basically normal, or normal enough, or something like that. And there we go. How about for kids who didn't kick puppies? Their skewness coefficient is 0.327, also not bigger than the absolute value, or not absolute value is still not bigger than 2. So we would say 0.327 and basically normal. Oh, I rounded it to 0.33. Okay. So prior alliance students, negative 0.387. So I guess negative 0.39 is the answer. And also not bigger than an absolute value of 2. So we would say basically normal. All right. So using the median in the box plot as your evidence, which subgroup has and we want lowest propensity to become a serial killer and highest propensity to become a serial killer. So let's go down the box plot. I actually hated these when I was in your guys' shoes. I didn't think they're very useful, but over time, I've kind of come to appreciate them because they do present a lot of information succinctly. So the way I would do this, and I would say, okay, propensity of a whole group. We need a measure of central tendency, and one of them is shown in these box plots. These thick black lines in the middle show you the medians for each group. So you want to find for 13A, the lowest median. Well, that's prior alliance students, isn't it? They have the lowest bar of the 3. So prior alliance students is our answer here. And then who's got the highest propensity? So who's got the highest median? Kids who kick puppies, to no one's shock. So kids who kick puppies, number 1. In terms of folks you probably don't want to be alone with. So hopefully you put your name on it. Just in case you forgot, let me show you again really quick. I go to the top, kind of click on frequencies or whatever the first thing is on your output, and you double click, you put Princess Buttercup or whatever her name is, and you exported it. Make sure you click off and it's not selected when you export because it sometimes just exports the header. So you exported it, and do make sure you put your name on these too. Trying to get you in the habit of that because it becomes particularly important later. All right, so go ahead, correct your work, and make sure you get it turned in. You do get points for trying. So.